different writer.
Very nice. I have to tell you a story that I'm not very. So I used to play a lot of tabla in school for 6 years.
Wow.
And then suddenly I was quite good, and then suddenly my brother introduced me to Black Sabbath. And then suddenly the tabla seemed like an irrelevant part of my life, and I'm like, what have I done? So then I literally quit that, and my mother was trying to tell a schoolboy kid, Vinay, don't do this, please learn. You should have. Are you a self-taught musician, or are you learning professionally from somebody? Right? That's one debate that haunted me for many years, and I was quite proud to be self-taught after a certain point. And then luckily I got a chance to go abroad and study music for a while, and then suddenly, so I've sort of seen the best of both worlds, I would think. So the first and the biggest thing you can do for yourself, if you have any ambition to take this forward seriously, is find some sort of a mentor, find a guru, find whatever you want to call him, right? Because art is not something that is a not disciplined side of your life, which means that if today in the world of NFTs I want to create an art piece that gets me $1 billion, and I'm like, oh, you know what, I will just draw one circle and that's my piece. The problem is, it'll probably take me 100 canvases to be able to draw a perfect circle to begin with. So who teaches you that, right? Who teaches you how you can take something that, take an idea and even try to execute it, right? So if you all don't have a mentor for your musical learning, then that's the first thing I would look for. And well, you can have more than one. You can have a bunch of mentors, right? It depends on who you find and what's going on there and all. And a second point here would be how YouTube learning is not really learning, because it is not meant for any one person. So if I see a Paul Gilbert video, and I've been playing guitar for 18 years, and if he's talking about something, how I understand it and how you understand it playing for 12 years, 12? Yeah. And how you understand it, whoever was just began, is very different, right? Which means that he's not trying to tell somebody specific what they should be working on. So don't confuse the two. It's amazing that we have access to like 1 billion videos, but there is no set pattern and there is no one-on-one connect. So do yourselves a favor and find yourself a nice teacher, so that when you want to try and express yourself creatively in music, it'll come from a certain surety of what is what, right? You can't realistically, I don't think songs just happen, okay? Oh, I was just noodling and oh my god, I made this song. That's not very real, and if it happens to you once, that's good for you. I know 1 million people who've never been through that at all. But that's not how something like this would work, which means that there is a certain amount of know-how required in music to even think of the fact that you want to write a song, right? And obviously, typically, how it fares and how people respond to your music, it's pretty evident if you know what you're doing or what you're not doing. Okay, so the first thing that the first stage to not even writing a song would be the ideation of a song. Now, where does this even come from? Where do you get an idea for a song? I'm not currently talking about lyrical songwriting. I'm talking about the process of writing a song. It could be an instrumental tune, it could be a vocal tune, it could be a 80-piece orchestra if anybody's into writing for that. Right? It could be any of those things, right? The writing a piece of music. So where does this begin? This begins with, this comes from spending a lot of time ideating over something or the other. Now, what do you ideate? You pick up the guitar and sit playing all day, and then maybe you find something that you like. Is that the way you would do it? Not particularly. Going back to the self-taught as against having a teacher argument, how long do you think it would take somebody locked in a room with a guitar to figure out what a C chord is. Probably not even in their lifetime, right? Because too many pedals. Oh, that was magical, that chord right now. Yeah, because it's genuinely like there's a thought process in it. First time you might stumble on it, maybe not. Right? That's what's happening over here basically. So you will at some point you can start breaking out of the box, and depending on how much you want to obsess over your instrument, once in a while a mistake also becomes like, wait, what was that chord? And that's a good thing, I would assume, because it's like, so music is like a sorry to get a little spiritual here, but it's like a offering you're giving to the Lord of music. And I don't literally mean a god, but sure, we could go with that. And because of the amount of time spent, sometimes it'll just be like, here's a little return gift for you, prashad le lo. And then you're like, wow, I stumbled on this chord and I made a whole song out of this chord, right? So can I write a piece of music that it could be like 30 seconds, but it is a complete idea in itself. I don't have to remember it tomorrow. If I do, it's probably worth something, right? But today, what have I composed today? And no, these are not your masterpieces. This is a thought process that you work on, right? So if you try and do it this way, which obviously I'm not managed every day or anything, and that's not very real world, or maybe it is, and I'm just not that disciplined. But if you force yourself, give yourself these small goals. Har hafte ek kuch to chahiye mujhe. Now that could be a great melody that you came up with, and okay, I have recorded on my phone or whatever, and it's there. Or it could be some cool chord progression that one day comes in handy. You never know what that is, but you have to work on it from that perspective. You're a creator, so create. And I don't mean content creators. Okay, I'm not talking about Instagram posts. Okay, you don't have to do anything related to anything. You do it for yourself, because it's a thought process. It's all about, like, so music being an improvised thing in general. That's what it is, right? Like that's why we like live gigs, right? Other than Dream Theater, everybody plays it a little differently from the album, right? Only Dream Theater somehow can really do it, right? Anyway, so now that is the first question I would have with a chord progression like this. Okay, the chord progression is not the song, but there is a feeling to this. Everybody felt something nice about the progression. It wasn't. I mean, this also, I guess, is a feeling, but maybe not a feeling that I like, at least personally. So that would be the next thing, which sort of takes me back to that point that I just skipped, is approaching a song from three sort of angles, or forcing a song out from three angles. First is either you have a very strong melody, and that's like the gatekeeper of the song, or you have a chord progression. Whatever, I think they're sort of interrelated in a way, right? Because think about it like this: if this was the song, and if somebody was humming this song, he can't hum 4 notes at a time, no? So he's humming something in there, which means there is a melody in there. More often than not, that is the top note that's ringing, right? When a chord plays, whether it's an a cappella band singing out a chord, or it's me strumming, when I play this, 3 things are really sticking out. One is the ability to recognize the root note that most people usually have, and the lowest note is pretty obviously there, and the highest note is what's going to be like, oh, I'm just so in the face that you will remember me the most of all. So melody of the song and chord progression could maybe go hand in hand at some level or the other, right? And then the second thing would be starting from a rhythm, which means this is nice, but anybody heard Richard Spaven? Anybody know who this is? Richard Spaven. Please check this guy out. Very, very cool drummer, but very minimal. I'll remind you, don't worry. Very cool drummer, and very minimal. Like barely does anything, but there's something really charming about his music. Anyway. So, you know, with my tune, The Elephant in the Room, which I hope everybody heard because I forced them to say, please go and email them saying they should listen to my song and come so that I can give some, like, draw some parallels. I could never figure out for the longest time if I wanted that to be in a 6 or a 4. Like so I came up with this little progression first. So. Right? I came up with that, but every other day I used to play it in 4 instead. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it kept moving around till I'm like, okay, this is not going anywhere for me. I like the progression, but I don't know what the rhythmic basis for it is. And then I was like, okay, can I think of a rhythm that would suit the song? Or what could the rhythm be? Can I have a couple of options to this? What about like, We Will Rock You? We should have kept a drum kit here, no? Man, I could have asked you to play all this so we could have jammed instead, no? Everybody want to clap for me, or we can do this. We can do the Queen thing. So it's 1, 2... Till here, what were we doing? Just faffing around with 2 chords. Correct? Right? You know what I'm saying? So it's about these sort of like couple of things. So couple of ways to look at it. So now I got this. Okay, so let's make Elephant in the Room version 2 now. Okay, so this is our song. What else can we record and play? Okay, I'm gonna play this for y'all, and don't speed up, guys. Okay, otherwise my loop will go for a toss. 1, 2. Same thing again. Sorry, 1. I didn't click it. 3, 4. So now, I'm like, okay, rhythm to mil gaya. I have many drummers at my disposal. What can I say? So thanks for agreeing to be drummers on this song of mine. Now I need a melody on this, because this is still not the song, right? So I'm like, okay, what can we do? So now these chords are sort of influenced. If anybody's wondering, it's in the key of E, and it's based off the notes of a melodic minor scale.
Okay.
Or you can look at it as, it has a name actually. I'll tell you what it's called.
Mixolydian flat 6.
Flat 6. There you go. Right, the 5th mode of the melodic. My God, technical guys. Shucks, I was gonna. Anyway, good. So clearly we've moved on from the C major scale to E. Mixolydian flat 6 scale. Wow.
Flat 6, I didn't.
So good though, but technically that's the right answer. For me, it also comes from playing around with the notes of the Rag Charukeshi, which is like this really beautifully moody thing. So now if we go to the beginning of this thing, of totally obsessing with those notes and being like, oh, I just have to keep playing these notes because there's something so magical about it. That's honestly how the whole song came about, right? That would be the first thing again. That am I capable of playing the scale all over the fretboard? Do I know the chords of this? Do I know the chords of this scale? Etc. So that's where this comes from. And the idea was to not go overly dark about it because that's where that flat six can really hit you. But I don't want it to hit me. Like I don't want it to be ki, oh my god, this is how it's always sounding, right? Which means that just sort of backtracking. I hope this is not like everybody's into this, right? What I'm saying, everybody's getting it, no? Yeah. Chai break chahiye kisi ko? Coffee. All the smokers in the house must be terraces, right? Okay, so the idea was to not imply that at all. So I'm actually, what is that? The scale? That's the scale? Which means, anybody know what these notes are? No, it's just a pentatonic scale, major pentatonic scale. Or C sharp minor pentatonic, if anybody is sitting and doing those kind of calculations. So I'm like, okay, so if I use these notes, this actually sounds happy to me, right? Is this anywhere close to not happy? No, it sounds nice. It's airy. Which means that if I play around with these notes on that progression, something fun might come out of that, right? This is literally the thought process. That's what I'm telling you all this. That's where the melody idea comes from. And I'm like, okay, is this a vocal melody for me? She's in the room also, man. I'm a very bad singer, guys, okay? I do not sing. That's the one thing that I've been advised not to do, okay? But so I said, okay, does this feel like a vocal melody or not? By the way, that's totally a thing. Certain melodies are vocal melodies, certain melodies are guitar melodies. And if you try and like sort of mix them up, it goes pretty bad. Sounds horrible. So I'm thinking, and that then becomes the vocal melody. So I'm like, okay, at least the melody by itself can hold its ground, right? So now my idea is finally complete. Like, एक melodic आ गया कुछ, something melodic with an intent behind it. Chordal, which means the harmonic content of it, not harmonies, right? Because Western music or popular contemporary music now has chordal content on it, right? Which comes from the Western classical school of thought. And the Hindustani school of thought does not have a concept of a chord, right? Which also long back sort of changed, I guess, because a harmonium player does play a root chord once in a while, right? Like you're copying the vocal lines and you're what is called comping, right? You're also doing that stuff. So I don't know. Whatever. But so I have melodic content, I have harmonic content, and I have rhythmic content. So now my idea is at least an idea to begin with. That's where it's reached. Okay, this is what I would think of in this way. Now, if y'all are if y'all want to be composers or whatever, creators, and if nothing's happening for y'all, this is where I sort of wrote this down, hoping you'll remember it, that these are 3 templates that you can work with. Start with any of this first. Don't wait for inspiration to kick in. Say, I like Teardrop by Massive Attack. Boom, boom, boom. What a cool song. Okay, I love the rhythm also. By the way, take that rhythm off and that song is nothing, by the way. Think about it. Right? Don't get me wrong. Everything's great, but that is what drives it. Right? You take that and play another rhythm under it and you'll be like, oh, that sucks now. This has so much energy in this song because of that rhythm. And some beautifully simple 3-4 chords and a very simple melody sung unbelievably well, right? That's what that song is. So I've heard that song maybe 10 years ago, and even right now, if you want, we can totally blast it because it's that good a song. And I'm totally ready to listen to it right now. I mean, thank God for great equipment. So we'll do it as an ending song, okay? And we'll put our rhythm at the bottom and see how we screw it up.
That will be fun for sure.
Okay, so for example, there's nothing happening for me right now. There is no inspiration at this moment. Well, this is what I would do. Think of some rhythm to begin with, which says the Massive Attack thing. Nice. Can I speed it up so I don't literally try and create the very same song? Or slow it down, or whatever works for you. So I started rhythmically first. Then I'm like, okay, can I think of a melody? Nothing's happening. Can I try some chords based off how that pulse feels right now? Maybe I can. What mood am I going for? I want something dark. So maybe I shouldn't start with like a major triad, at least to begin with, right? And again, then, sorry to keep emphasizing on this, but whatever you've learned before will come to your rescue at this point of time, right? You want to be at a point of time where if A major is the first chord you played, you need to have 5 places you can go from here. Think of it like that. You aren't blindfolded looking around for stuff. What all can I do in this? When I start with an A chord, that's just A major scale. C major scale. It's crazy, right? It sounds so good, right? It's got so much power in there. Okay. Is there another way you can go, man? Sure. Completely different from that. Nice. Any more tricks up your sleeve? Sure. Start with the A triad. Damn, man, that's 3 completely unrelated things to each other. There's so many more, by the way. But let's not try and write a book on music right now. So this is a good place to be, right? So you start with any of these 3 and see how it goes. But now you have something concrete. For example, if we were doing this every day, everybody can bring one idea by tomorrow. Now it's not like intangible. It's not like, oh shucks, I have to write a song. Relax. Break it down. Think about what comes first, what comes second, what can be done about this. And keep storing these ideas if you think they're worth it. I'll tell you all a couple of instances I had in the last few years. One was about 4 years back when, so I have a band called Funkatrix. I know you just saw us play the other day. A couple of y'all might have heard this band. If y'all haven't, please do me a favor and go listen to the music. There's no recorded music, unfortunately, because it's all about the live experience or whatever. But it's like a funk, jazz, all original music band. Okay, so this friend of mine, Shreyas, drummer, and me, we sat and played one day after many years. We've been playing for so many years together in different bands. One day we just played for ourselves, and we were like, wow, there's something here. There's some chemistry that didn't exist before that just suddenly come our way. We should do something about this. Now I'm the guitar player in the band. right? And it's a guitar driven. I mean, there's no vocal thing on it. So in that week, I wrote 8 songs, and that's pretty much the whole set. And that's the whole set. I literally sat with my acoustic and wrote all 8 songs that we play live in 1 week. Because there was a purpose to it now. Suddenly it's like, oh, I enjoyed this so much. But what do I go and jam like a... Sorry, I don't want to say anything in front of you. So go jam like an idiot, sir. So, see how... Hey, cut that! Jam like an idiot over there? No. I mean, sure, we'll do it once, twice, thrice. Then what? You know how most jams are one guy playing an A minor chord and 3 others playing solos on top of it? Relax, guys. That's really not how it works. So that 1 week, maybe 10 days, I hope I'm not exaggerating here, was literally the whole set. And if y'all have heard the set, you would know that it's a slightly complex piece of... I mean, it's nice. It's been 4 years. I think I should take 1 more week off and do that. So at least I will have 8 more songs. But that's how quickly you can, sort of push yourselves. But don't wait for that intention, because it might not come all the time. Ki गाना बनाओ, please, एक लिखो कुछ गाना. ऐसे नहीं है. You do it all the time. So when the time comes, who knew that it was the biggest eye-opener for me ever of being able to just play it live well and having it on record. But the fact that if you're not tight and the song is click-based, recorded, then you're just ruining the performance. So either you're good on time or you just don't play it. Simple, because it's even more obvious. You know what I'm saying? Don't correctly record instead. Who am I kidding? Nobody's going to do that. Choosing the other musician, okay, sharing a vision. Well, this is like sort of like, it's a little more, what's the term for it? Like it's, you finally want to play with musicians that genuinely like what you're doing, right? And this is where I've realized that the best musician of a certain thing is not always the nicest for the song, because he might not be into that kind of music, right? Luckily, if you're writing all your parts, then you're fine. But if you're not, then there's a good chance that... Imagine if Ranjit Barot played something and sent it to me and I'm like, I didn't like this on this song. What are you even going to tell him then, man? Right? But it's possible, right? Because it's music. I mean, it's a musical thing. Like, he might perceive it differently. This is where sort of sharing the vision of the song. What am I trying to do? What it means, right? We are so involved in the actual process that we don't give this time. Ki par story kya hai? Story to batao pehle. Right? What is the... You know why in movies and all they storyboard the whole thing again and again and again? For this reason, that I can't skip anything. I need to detail it all out and then get into actually doing the whole thing, right? So I've had a few of these experiences where I was like, wow, but I don't like it. Now how, like, relations going bad, so many things, right? I scratching the song only because how to say anything about this. Letting people write their parts. Like I said, if one day you want to get here, but let people do their job and sort of learn what they're doing though. Like don't lose out on that. Okay, this mixing is again a very dear thing that I like to talk about. I learned it on the fly as much as possible, watching these guys do it. When I was in music school, I used to go and attend, the recording teacher thought I was enrolled for the recording course instead of the guitar course. Because that's how much I used to just sneak in, what's he going to say, that kind of thing, right? Because one thing I strongly realized whenever you all hit this point is that nobody else can visualize the song like you can, right? So which means that when I play the acoustic guitar, if I get the 10 greatest recording engineers here, that doesn't mean that I will like all of it, because they don't know how I expect my guitar to sound either, right? Does that make sense? Okay, let me give you an example. I don't know, a simple EQ can change the tone of your guitar. Whoa, that's a big one, man. And I don't want to sound like... What if I get the mix engineer for Hoobastank for my record? It's gonna not work, man. Just saying, right? Because he does that style maybe or whatever. So how it helps is you being able to at least take it to a stage where I'm happy with how this sounds, but now let the professional do the professional job on it. Does that make sense? And that's how I've always done it. On these 3 songs, on the whole album before that, if you all have checked it out, called Naked on Train, where, because the mix engineer did it and I'm like, oof, that's not how my acoustic guitar sounds. Then figure it out, learn to do it yourself. And this sort of has worked really well for me. I have a really good mix engineer, but I will do 60% of the work and take it to him. So there's no, how should it sound? It's more like, that's a bad EQ on it, but I got what you have in mind, right? That can work. So that's where I feel like mixing and understanding a decent amount of that is a good thing. Also, it makes like the actual process a lot more fun because you're not listening to some crappy things you've recorded. You've at least like cleaned them up, and you're going to spend so much time with it that it's going to give you ear fatigue if you don't know a certain basic amount of mixing this stuff, right? Taking the mix most of the way, which is what I personally do, and maybe one day you all can also try and do that. But you'll have to spend some time learning about these things because they're quite something. And congrats on you all for learning it right now. Imagine the sound of the song, references again for mix is a big thing. Hand it over to the skilled sonic artist, which would be like, at least that's what I feel about my mix engineers. Okay, so now all of this sort of like works for me. This doesn't have to work. Everything I said from the beginning is my journey. Yours could be slightly different. So figure it out. See what works best for you guys, right? Play a lot with musicians. That's that today doesn't happen as much as it used to, but that's like the most important of those things. I don't think this is a mistake. I think I meant let them do their thing. Find a producer, learn on the go, which I said earlier already. Find a mix engineer, learn on the go. Again, same reason. Let them do their job, move on with it, but like don't say, oh, tu mix kar le. It's your song. You go sit there and trouble him about it so that you don't have to be a mixing engineer 5 years later, but you have to do what's best for you. And then all of this is like one big process, which you can't be like, oh, now I've finished this, I will do this. It just all goes hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? That's Ronak here has mixed. We did a spatial audio mix, which is the Dolby Atmos thing, which is releasing on the 8th of Jan for one of my upcoming EPs. And it's sounding so good. It was so much fun. When he heard the stereo mix, he said, dude, this mix is awesome. And that for me was not my final mix. It was my work in progress mix because it had to be mixed for me to enjoy it. Right? It's not a bad place to be, is all I'm saying, right? 8th of Jan, guys. It's quite y'all will have to find the iPhone user you know, borrow, 15 minutes to 11 and a half minutes listen, and it's quite an experience. Like, it's quite an experience. The whole Dolby thing is mad. And then you're there. Well, hopefully you have a song fully done and ready for release. I don't want to talk about the actual release process. I think there are enough blogs on that with CD Baby and all of that. But if y'all have any questions, I can answer them because I've had my share of experiences with release guys also. But let's not make this bitter. So there you go. That's pretty much what I had in mind about the whole process of wanting to write a song to having something. That's sort of how I would place it. The more you do it, the quicker y'all are going to get at it. Right? For the amount I spoke, I hope you all have something to ask me back. No pressure, but yeah, open. It's an open. Sorry?
Cricket's joking.
No, but seriously, any thoughts? Anything you all feel like discussing? We can about any of these songs.
Question.
Yes.
So when you said that you had 8 or an 11-day binge of writing songs consecutively.
Yeah.
So what was your idea behind it? Like, did you set a goal for yourself that you will write one tune every day, or just you would?
No, I think for me personally, it was just various things coming out, like me, like going on like a nitro boost mode when you're playing NFS, of writing a whole bunch of things and then the next day revisiting those ideas. Literally just voice memos and constantly doing that again and again and again. Half of it I couldn't remember by day 5 because there's so many ideas that can come if you really like force them out, right? So it was not a tune a day for me, but that's totally doable. I don't see why not. And it's not unrealistic if you're okay with the fact that it doesn't work, right? So I will do one tune every day for a week. Might do one in all, and that's okay. But because you want yourself to be a slightly well-oiled machine when it comes down to these things, where certain things you're faster at doing than not, right? So unrealistic goals, no, but yeah, you can put some, you can push yourself for sure. I hope that answers your question. Anything else? Anybody have any?
How to deal with incomplete projects? I mean, there are a lot.
Just shelf them. Just keep them away. If they are incomplete because you aren't, because they're just lying around. And see, okay, here's one random this thing. There's I really like playing the piano. I can't play it at all. I can play the white keys, and I think I understand them pretty well. So I had this little piece of music, which I would have said I'll play now, but let's not do that. There's some pianists in the house. So this little piece of music that I've been playing for like 7 years now, just like 2-3 chords, very moody, sort of C major based, and C major can be moody, luckily for us. So, and I never did anything about it. And now there's some hip hop and rap related stuff that I'm doing with a producer, and I happen to the moment I connect, I played that first, and he was like, "Oh my god, what is that?" It's like, "Oh, just messing around." He's like, "Play it again." Luckily, I wasn't just messing around because I knew the idea. So I was like, "Yeah, this is just an idea from," and he loved it so much. And then he got one singer called, well, let it release, then you'll see who's on it. A nice singer. I didn't know him either. He knew the singer. And it's become a whole thing, man. 7 years after I came up with the idea. By chance, right? So when the like ideas that you're struggling with, park them. It's okay. Just don't forget about it if you think that they're worth it, but just park them. Right place, right time. For many of these. But then again, you're creating so much that you're not like, "Oh shit, what about that? I have 100 others that I have to deal with as well," right?
Yeah.
So that's how I would look at it, at least.
Okay.
Also, you mature, right? So if you're musically like sort of hitting a roadblock right now, maybe 2 years later, you find other ways to get past them, right? So, anything at all?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
It's not about the workshop actually.
Oh.
But apart from guitar and other musical instruments, have you ever tried writing a song that a proper vocalist would sing?
Yeah, all
That
of these,
kind of
all of the ones that
rhymes?
I made you listen to, no? I just didn't sing them, but I wrote the songs that they sang. They just sang
Kind of
them.
rhymes.
Well, there is. Are you talking about a poem in
Kind
particular?
of.
Well, I haven't written a poem because I'm not trying to write poetic songs. But I don't see why not. You must do it. It'd be nice. I haven't done it, unfortunately. But maybe I should also. Unfortunately, I don't write lyrics by myself.
Yeah.
So that comes from somewhere else. But yeah, there is some rhyme. I'll send you the lyrics. There's some rhyming things going on over there.
Okay.
But not meant purely from that angle, at least. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which music school did you go to?
I went to a place called Musicians Institute, which is in LA. Started off as GIT in 1977. It's like the Berkeley on the other coast, basically.
Yeah, a few of my friends have graduated.
Yeah, I might know a few. They went when I went.
Pritesh Walia?
Who's that?
Pritesh Walia?
Pritesh went to MI and Berkeley.
Yeah, now
as it
he's
turned.
in UV.
Yeah, he's psycho. He's just studying. He's become like one monster student. Very good guitar player though.
Yeah, we grew up together.
Yeah, he's a fine guitar player. Yeah,
Dan Jain?
I don't know what that is. But Ehsan Noorani went to the same school. Do you guys know Jairo Kavi, the drummer?
Yeah.
You know all the RHCP guys went to the same school as
Oh,
me.
really?
But then, as in like I was a kid, but yeah. Yeah. And a couple of these. Jeff Buckley, anybody into his music? Well, he was also from the same school. it's horrible because then you realize where you have to live up to, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh shit. At 27, when Jeff passed away, he was writing that, and it's like, oh man, I might not be the most successful student yet, but I will try to. But yeah, it's a nice school. It's a if there is an option for y'all to go abroad to a music school, please do it, because the amount you can learn is mad, and that environment just doesn't exist other than in a music school. So if somebody wants to pay me to go again, I'll go again. As in, just pay my fees. Don't pay me for it. So yeah, if that is an option, y'all should definitely look into it, because and people of all ages, and like, it's never too early or too late, really. So anything else? Giving out some moody music at the back. We'll have to think about it. Nice. So if we don't have anything else, then we can conclude it here. And if I'll feel like talking to me about it privately, because that's happened before, I will not say my question out loud. Then feel free to reach out through Grace Park or Instagram or whatever, and we can talk. And hopefully, like, this helps, and I hear a lot more music from as many of y'all as possible. Yeah?